Hey there, beautiful, and welcome to your yoga practice. Today is a dynamic flow, and what that means is really taking this element and energy of being fluid, of being compassionate, and moving through these postures. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and grab our yoga mats and let's flow. All right, beauties, let's go ahead and begin today's practice by coming into a child's pose. So what we're gonna do is draw our two big toes together, open up the knees nice and wide, and gently walk over top. Allow our forehead to come to kiss the ground as we extend the arms out straight in front of us. And let's just start tuning into some nice deep breaths. Always at the beginning of class, this is just our opportunity to take a couple of beats to just slow everything down, to invite ourselves to emotionally, physically, mentally just release everything else from the day and just commit to yourself that this is your time on the mat. This is your time to be present, your time to reconnect within. So start tuning into that deep yogic breath in which we inhale deeply through the nose and exhale deeply out the nose. Seeing with each inhalation if you can find just a little bit more length in the body, reaching those hands forward, and each exhalation see if you can sink those hips back just a little bit farther. Finding that additional space and length within each inhalation and exhalation. I'm going to go ahead and slowly walk both hands over to one side, reaching out that side body. And then walk the hands over to the opposite direction. Drawing both hands up in front, and then slowly start to rise. We're going to come into Thunderbolt pose here for a moment. We're just going to start slowly warming up with the neck, giving some nice gentle neck rolls from side to side. Today's practice is all about being dynamic. So dynamic is that fluidity, that change, that ability to adapt. So throughout today, I invite you to tune into that internal wisdom, that internal voice that's saying, this feels good, or maybe this is my edge. I'd like to pause here for a moment, or maybe I want to come back to home base, which is either downward dog or child's pose. So remembering that part of being dynamic is adapting to the moment. Dropping that chin to chest for a moment, slowly tracking back side to side gently. Inhale, rise the head up. We're going to interlace the fingertips behind us, starting to draw the chest open, tall and proud, gaze to the sky. Breathing deep here. Release as we send our energy forward, coming into a tabletop position. Our fingertips are going to open up nice and wide, and we're just going to start to find a little bit of movement here, moving side to side with the body. We're going to drop our tummy, and then we're going to roll up. Drop the tummy and roll up, pushing through that spine, and then switch opposite direction. We're likely in our living rooms, no one's around, so let's just have a little fun, dance around, shake your booty side to side, And that just helps us kind of wash off any of that sleepiness, any kind of energy that we want to just dust off for a moment. Wonderful. And let's go ahead and find neutrality here. And let's find some dynamic cat-cows. Dropping our tummy, our gaze is going to go to the sky. And then go ahead and send that gaze up into the belly. Moving at your own pace, your own time. Inhale, stay, gaze to the sky for just a moment. Exhale, sending that gaze to the belly. Coming back into neutrality here, let's go ahead and tuck the toes, drawing the knees up for just a moment here. And then when you're ready, go ahead and send those hips up to the sky, coming into our first downward dog of the practice. Let's send those fingertips out nice and wide. Shoulder blades are going to push through here. Hips are coming up to the sky. As this is our first downward dog, let's go ahead and walk the dog out. This just helps us kind of settle into it, feeling any sticky parts. And we might be coming to practice bright and early, so we might be a little tight. Or some days we might be hitting the mat after a long day, after a workout, and it might be a little bit looser. So be compassionate with your muscles. Be aware of what's happening and what you're asking for. That's all about being dynamic, fluid, and adaptable. If you're ready, let's go ahead and wag the tail a little bit, side to side. We're going to actually draw up the right toes off the mat here for a moment. We're going to draw that into the knee, and check it out. We're actually going to send that energy across the body, and we're going to open up. Gaze can either go to the sky or down at the ground. Really testing your strength here in that one right hand here. So if you need to, you can always come back down, slowly challenging yourself to pull that energy back into a downward dog. Lifting those toes off the ground, coming in, and then sending the toes out to that right side and opening up. Testing your strength here. And then switch, pulling that hand back onto the ground, coming back into a downward dog. We're going to release the toes off the mat once more, sending the right knee into our chest, and then sending it back into downward dog. Pulling that right knee into chest, and sending it back. Three-legged dog last time. Drawing it in. Shoo. This time, let's go ahead and send those toes through the two hands. And then we're going to go ahead and windmill up into a warrior two. Taking a beat here just to find that balance. So we really want to make sure that our knee is over top of our ankle, that we're leaning in nice and deep. Energy is going through that tailbone, so I'm engaging the core, drawing it up here. And let's go ahead and make sure that our two heels are in alignment. And then let's find a little bit of dynamic warrior. So we're going to push the energy through that leg to bring it standing. And then I'm going to go ahead and bend. Gaze goes to the front. Inhale, rise. Exhale, bend. Inhale, rise. Exhale, bend. Just kicking a little bit of heat into that body. Beautiful. Windmilling our hands all the way down. Coming into this high runner's lunge, check it out. We're going to take that left hand on the outside of the right toes, and we might just want to kind of swing across here. Maybe our hand reaches up to the sky, or maybe it stays bent, or maybe both hands stay on the ground. Finding the level that works well for you. And then we're going to go ahead and draw that arm down, touching the ground for a moment, and then draw it back up. Bringing those fingertips down, continuing with this dynamic movement, and then opening up to the sky. Drawing the fingertips down, opening to the sky. And then both hands kiss on either side of the foot, drawing it back, coming back into your downward dog, walking it out for a moment. Taking that left foot now off the ground, bringing the knee into the chest, pulling it on back. Into the chest, three-legged dog. One more time. Pulling it through. Challenge yourself. Stepping in, taking a moment here, and then opening up to Warrior Two. Making sure that we have nice, beautiful alignment here, having our two heels in alignment with each other. Arms are out nice and wide, engaging into that core, pulling up, making sure we're not popping the booty out, excuse me. And then let's go ahead and make sure that we're digging in nice and deep into this front knee. Inhale, we're gonna rise, send the energy back. Exhale, dig down deep. Inhale, rise. Exhale, pushing in deep. Breathing through this motion. Might be feeling a little bit of heat building, but that also means we're building strength, building flexibility, building adaptability, all beautiful things. Wonderful. Coming back over, coming onto those toes here. We're going to place that right hand on the outside of the left foot, and then inhale. Hand goes to the sky. Again, always remembering you can keep both hands here. You can use a yoga block. Remember that we can always find the variation that works well for us. And then let's go ahead and float the fingertips down. Roll them up to the sky. Float your fingers down, kiss the earth, float them up to the sky. And then drawing up one last time, coming all the way through, challenging yourself to step back into that downward dog, pushing back through the shoulders here. Taking 3 deep intentional breaths in through the nose, out the mouth, exhale. Making sure we're not holding any tension in the neck. Inhale deeply through the nose. Let it go. Inhale deeply through the nose. Exhale. Settling into this home base. Feeling how good it feels to be still for a moment. Inhale, gaze goes to the front of the mat. Either step or hop to the top, bending over. Inhale, halfway lift as our fingertips rise up to our shins, coming into a flat back. Exhale, release, folding forward. Inhale, root to rise. Hands come up to the sky. Exhale, bringing our hands down, we're going to slowly grow in our left roots. So our toes are going to open up nice and wide. We're going to engage our core, and then we're going to slowly draw our right leg into our chest. Holding here, picking that drishti, that point of focus in front of you. And this might be where we want to stop today, and this is a great place to be. You might want to grab that knee with the left hand and start to look behind that right shoulder. You might want to reach that right hand out behind you, opening for a slight twist. Coming back, pulling that knee into our chest, one last beat. Exhale, release it down, shake it out. Always important to release. And then we're going to go ahead and grow those roots down into the right toes here, opening them out nice and wide, drawing that knee into our chest. And we might want to stay here, finding that balance. We might want to open up to our hip with that left hand, or we might want to look behind that left shoulder, opening out that left arm nice and wide. Drawing everything back in, pulling that knee into our chest, lowering down and shaking it out. Inhale, both arms up overhead. Interlace the fingers, all fingers except your index pointing out tall. And then we're gonna slightly open up to the side, opening, and my shoulder is gonna open to the left. And then I'm gonna twist, opening to the right. Finding a little bit of a dynamic movement here, almost as though we're drawing figure eights with our elbows. I'm just feeling a little bit of strength in the side muscles, opening up of the chest and the shoulders, and then coming to center. Inhale the arms up. Interlace the fingers behind, pulling open the chest. Gaze can go to the sky if it feels good. And then exhale, bending down. The tummy's gonna lay down on the legs. Release the arms, coming all the way down to the ground, touching your toes to the ground, opening your feet out nice and wide. And then we're gonna go ahead and grab the elbows here if it feels right, and let's just have a gentle sway. Bringing our hands down to the floor, let's go ahead and heel toe our way back into our toes, almost touching here, very close together. We're gonna inhale our arms up overhead, and then we're gonna sit back in our chair. So by sitting back in our chair, what we wanna do is make sure that we're nice and deep here, that our shoulders are pulling back, energy through the fingertips, shoulder blades pushing down the back, and I have most of my weight in the heels. We're gonna inhale deeply here. Exhale, we're gonna release down. Inhale, rise. Exhale, release. And I want you to imagine that you're just releasing, letting things go, anything that no longer serves you, just allowing it to release out your fingertips. Inhale, rise. Exhale, release. Inhale, rise. Exhale, release. Shoo. Might be feeling a little bit of heat building in those legs, and that's great. Inhale, rise, stay. 3, 2, 1, release. Coming down through center. Whoo. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release, coming back through, stepping back into a nice downward dog. We're gonna go ahead and bend our knees here. We're gonna take the right knee and turn it in sideways to the length edge of the mat. And I'm gonna come into a half moon pose here. We can stay here if this feels sufficient for us. Otherwise, we can go ahead and take up to the full expression. Wherever you're at for the day, let's go ahead and find a little bit of movement, looping the hand underneath us, drawing it up, pulling it on down. Inhale to rise, lowering down, and inhale. Remembering we can always have that bottom knee kissing the ground, giving us a little bit of extra support if necessary. And then let's switch opposite direction, taking both knees down to the mat for a moment here. I don't know about you, but I'm starting to build a little bit of that wonderful heat. So we're gonna take the left knee, pointing it to the edge of the mat here. So we can go For this would be level 1, otherwise we can take it up to level 2, finding that strength here. And then we're gonna go ahead and flow it out. Arm comes underneath, and then rainbowing it up to the sky. And slowly coming back into a tabletop position. Let's go ahead and find a little bit of happy cow here for a moment. And then we're gonna go ahead and draw some big circles on our mat. So we're gonna lean forward over our wrists, push back through our ankles. Inhale and exhale. And switch opposite direction. Wonderful. And then we're going to go ahead and come onto our forearms. And then we're going to tuck our toes underneath us. So we're staying in a low plank here. If this feels sufficient, then I invite you to stay here. Otherwise, we're going to find a little bit of movement here. So we're going to slowly rise up to one hand, and then we're going to rise up to the other. Then we're going to lower down that left hand and lower down the right. And then switch, coming to our right hand and then the left. Lowering down with our right and then lowering down with the left. Taking a moment here, just building that strength. And you might notice I'm pushing through my toes and then pushing forward. Just finding a little bit of a sway here as we built a little bit of heat. So let's move through it. And then lowering down our knees. We're gonna go ahead and come back into a child's pose, but this time our hands are gonna come behind us, forehead onto the mat, breathing nice and deep. And rolling on up. Coming back into a tabletop position, walking those knees forward slightly, tucking them underneath our feet. And then we're gonna roll, rock and roll onto our back. Beautiful. Finding a moment of stillness after all that movement feels so good. Let's go ahead and roll out those knees, making circles to the outside and then drawing them in. And we're going to go ahead and allow our right foot to cross on top of our left. Inhale as we interlace our fingers to grab at our shin or perhaps at the hamstring, whatever feels right for us today. Energy is going to go through those toes, so we're going to flex the toes. And then lowering down that left foot, and allowing that right knee to fall open for a moment here. Breathing nice and deep. And then allow that right knee to drape generously over top of that left. And then we can allow that energy to fall to the left side. Gaze goes right. Inhale, both legs up. Switch opposite direction. The left is going to come on top of the right. Inhale, grabbing either at the shin or at the hamstring. Energy through those toes. And then slowly lowering down that right foot, opening up that hip for a moment, taking a beat. And then generously crossing that over the right leg, and then energy goes right, gaze goes left. And then drawing the knees back into our chest here for a moment, rocking side to side. If it's in our practice, we can open up to a happy baby. Just taking a moment to feel the gratitude of this dynamic movement session. Just quickening the heart, getting the blood flowing, working on our strength and our flexibility, which all leads to greater adaptability, to be able to respond to these different requirements throughout our day, to perhaps run after the kiddos or catch a bus, run up a mountain, hike, swim, whatever it is that our goals might be. It's so important that we have the whole integrity of our body, which is what yoga really helps us do, is to tune into all of those elements that help make us strong, supple, connect with flexibility and mobility. Drawing those knees into our chest. When you're ready, drawing your forehead up to your knees, squeezing everything as tight as you can. Squeeze your core, squeeze your abs, your face, your fingers. Everything as tight as you can. 3, 2, 1, shoom. Release, opening up, taking a minute here just to kind of settle into your body, making sure you're not holding any tension. I invite you to just wiggle your feet back and forth a few times, to open your palms to the sky, to draw your 2 shoulder blades in. This is going to help open up the chest. Closing the eyes and breathe. Just enjoying the sweet stillness, allowing yourself to marvel at the amazing abilities of your body to show up on the mat, to be present, to be aware, to let go, to approach something with a sense of humility, to approach something with a sense of compassion and dedication. By showing up for these yoga practices on a continual basis, you're stepping into that happiest and healthiest version of yourself, taking time to invest in what's important to you, to develop skills, to create magic within and off your mat. So thank yourself, thank your body, just filling your cup with gratitude and appreciation. When you're ready, begin wiggling your fingers and toes. Reach your arms up overhead. Give me this nice, beautiful, elongated stretch. So yummy. And then slowly roll onto the side of the body. Oh, feels good, right? When you're ready, slowly start to rise. Come to a comfortable seated position. Bringing your hands to heart center, begin rubbing those palms together, creating that heat and light within. And taking those palms, clasp them over your eyes. Take the biggest inhalation you've taken all day, in through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Inhale those arms up overhead. Give me a nice little stretch once more, bringing your hands to heart center. Thank you so much, beautiful, for showing up for me, for yourself, for investing in your health and wellness journey and spending this time with me. I greatly appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the mat.